Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Got something unique today. Behind me, I had my new pellet grill, which is a Rec Teq BFG, which stands for big flipping grill, I guess we'll say. And we're gonna do an unboxing and assembly video. All right, let's get started. It is about 8 o'clock in the morning right now. This grill had to be delivered by a freight because it weighs 560 pounds. Of course, this is backwards. Let's flip it around. All right, let's dig into this. Woo! Now, ultimately, I went with the Rec Teq because it's all constructed out of stainless steel. My last two pellet grills have only lasted like 3 to 4 years and rusted out. I'm not sure if that's because I was going too high on the temperature and the enamel would come off, but that shouldn't be a problem with this grill. I will tell you, I can just tell by how those work. This is gonna be high quality. So I guess the next stage is just getting all of this out. These grill grates, heavy as hell. I mean, it's probably 40 pounds just in one grill grate. Hardware. Check these out. These casters, look how heavy duty that is. So that was about 30 minutes to get this thing emptied out. Whew, let's start putting it together. Just a note here, there's no like actual manual that comes with the unit. You've got to scan a QR code. So if you're putting this together somewhere where you may not have Wi-Fi, like a camp or something, or a secondary home, just make sure you download that before you go. Yeah, it takes you to a link for a video, so you don't want to download the YouTube video before you get started. All right, so step one will be to assemble the cart. So these side pieces just sit over the top of the front and the back. You'll be able to tell the back because it's got a cutout here. So you want to make sure that's on that side. And you want to make sure there's a cutout on the side for the power cord. That goes on the left side. And these just attach using these little sheet metal screws that come with the kit. All right, now with the sides and the fronts on, we're gonna put, there's an internal frame that goes inside this to provide some strength. When you're doing stuff like this, it's always good to do like one corner, go across, come here, go across. That way you're not trying to fight it later. This is attaching using those same sheet screws. All right, time to flip it upside down. You're gonna want to be careful here, you don't bend edges. So for this step, Rec Teq provides these stainless steel bolts. You're going to need a 17mm wrench to install those, and there's no backing nut, they just go right in. And you're going to do that on all 4 sides. Okay, time to flip this back over. And before going any further, make sure you lock the wheels so this isn't moving all over the place on you. Next, you're just going to take these expanded metal shelves and install those on the bottom. They just drop in, there's no screws. For the next step, you got your carry handles here. We need to connect those so that these will mount to the actual smoker itself. So we're going to take this screw out and screw through this hole. And you want to make sure you got that about 90 degrees before you tighten it all the way down. To connect the handles, you're going to use these 8 small screws, these Phillips head screws that come in the package. You can tell the rest of these are quite a bit bigger, so you need these smaller ones. And they're just going to go into the 4 holes here on the side. A lot of times when I'm hanging stuff like this, I like to start it with just a regular screwdriver. That way you don't cross thread anything. You can make sure everything lines up properly, and then you can come back with your impact driver. With the handles on, the next step is to actually lift that grill onto this cart. I'm solo, so that won't be happening. It's 9 o'clock now, so it took about an hour to get from a box to where we're at now. I'm gonna have to call somebody to give me a hand, so back in a bit. I want to set, stop, and reset. And those wires should go right there.
Oh, okay.
All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. I'm in. Yep. That was it. That's all I needed a hand with. But yeah, there was no way I was doing that by myself. With this big old guy in place, on each of the 4 corners, I'm gonna put the bolts, use the provided nuts. Now, using that same hardware, we're going to install the front shelf on these 4 holes. And this is one where if you had somebody helping you, probably should have kept my younger brother around, it would be a lot easier, but we'll get there. You can get one side in, and it gets easier. Just going to install the access panel in the back here. It's just 2 screws and these tabs. Next on go the smokestacks. And the other side. Next comes the brains of this whole thing. This shelf has to go on. Getting this shelf installed might be the hardest part of this whole installation. But once the shelf is finally done, there's just the 5-pin connector and your RTD, which is just a 2-pin connector. You just hook those up. Take this bag off. So we'll be ready to go once we finish this up. Next, we're installing the bullhorn handles. And the handles have these little pads that go on the outside of the cover. So you just push this in through the back, through the metal, through this, and then into the horns. So now it's time to install the internal components here. First, this heavy cast iron fire pit. But before we do that, when we start this up for the first time, you are going to want to have a handful of pellets already in here, so I don't have to take it all apart again. I'm just going to put a handful of pellets in here. Again, you're not looking to go crazy. That can only go one way. There's a big hole and a little hole in the side. Big hole goes over the fire pit. Next, go in the drip pans. These just overlap like that. Next goes in your 4 smaller grates. Then your bigger grates. Your drip buckets go on. With that, the grill is fully assembled. All right, that's a wrap on finishing up the Rec Teq BFG 2500 install. I'm gonna throw some pellets in this and do the burn off. To do the burn off, it's 400 degrees for 1 hour. So I'm gonna add some pellets and get that going right now. Total assembly time, about an hour and a half. And I did most of that myself. I did have to get somebody in here to help me lift the actual grill on, but an hour and a half, more or less solo with somebody else, I could see this actually going quite a bit quicker. All right, look forward to getting quite a bit of action out of this grill this summer. If you like what you saw, subscribe below, and I'll see you next time.